Hello, 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 and welcome to the Corona Cast Comedy Show. Here with me, Daliso Chaponda. If you're tuning in for the first time, I am a stand-up comedian who normally would be bouncing around the world doing comedy in theaters, pubs, golf clubs, well, in front of whoever hired me, essentially. Because of Corona, I have no live audiences, so instead I do this. And what is this? This is that I perform every night to whoever happens to come across my stream, be it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitch, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do two kinds of shows. I do shows where I do stand-up comedy. I do jokes about random subjects which are suggested by audience members. And then I do episodes like today's episode, which is a deep dive on one theme. It's sort of more like a talk show, but don't worry, because I am a funny person, it's still going to have lots of funny moments, but it's going to be more of a chit chat. And today's theme, my friends, my Romans, my countrymen, is giving up. Yes, I decided to do a show about giving up because today's day 41. Yeah, day 41. So yesterday I had been in isolation because of Corona for 40 days and 40 nights. And if any of you know anything about the Bible, you know amazing things are meant to happen on day 41. Like after 40 days and 40 nights, that is when Noah finds land, right? 40 days, 40 nights. That's when Satan shows up and starts tempting. Nobody showed up and started tempting me, right? I was very disheartened, right? That would have been a little bit of excitement, at least in my solitary existence, if suddenly some goat-hooved, horned red devil showed up and started saying, "What do you want? What do you want?" Right? Would have chased him away, of course. Like I'm Sunday school trained. I would have thrown some water in his face. It's not holy water, but I imagine it's can't like having water thrown in his face. But no. So I didn't have that happen. I didn't have any epiphanies. And in fact, I had some doubt. I had a pretty bad day yesterday. And I was starting to wonder, what's the point of all of this? Not in like a suicide kind of way. Because I'm going to be talking about giving up, but not about suicidal giving up. So it's not going to be that heavy. I think making fun of that is out of my reach. But more just, when you've got something you're trying to do and then you want to give up. And I was like, look at this. I'm doing all of these comedy shows every day. I've done 40 episodes and I think I've made something like 210 pounds from it. So I'm like making like, I don't know if you're good at math, but like I'm getting paid less doing this than I would doing one show in normal life. So it's not sustainable. And then like, I've been working hard on my novel, but I'm like, maybe I would even sell it. And I was like, maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should just do something else. You know what I mean? If I should start trying to, apply for other jobs. And so I had a good give up kind of moment. I was a little bit down. But, instead of whining about it, I decided, why don't I write jokes about the idea of giving up? So that's what this episode is going to be about. This episode is going to be about giving up, whether or not we should give up, and how do we not give up, right? So I began research for this episode by taking a look at quotes, right? I'm taking big quotes from the past, right? So Shakespeare said on the subject of giving up, "Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." And equally profound philosopher Destiny's Child said, "I'm a survivor. What? I'm gonna give up. What? I will survive. What? Keep on surviving." I think the whats make it better, okay? And I realized, like, I can't spend my time looking at famous quotes. It's too pretentious. So I decided when looking at giving up, why don't I talk to my fans? So I put a call out to my fans and a few friends of mine, and I said, look, I'm going to do a show about giving up. So give me a call if either you've given up on something in your life, right? Or you almost gave up on something. And I meant big things, not little things. Not like, I gave up going to the grocery store. No, I mean big things which you struggled with and you either gave up or you almost didn't give up. And that's going to be the first part of the show. I'm going to talk about The Musical Wife. I'm going to be talking about the Almost Latin Lover, and In the Lab. That's going to be the first section of the show. Then there'll be a little interval where I chat to people in the chat room. Because the subject is giving up, it would be interesting if any of you who's watching tell me in your comments if you have ever given up something big or almost given up something big, and then maybe in the interval we will take a little chat about those things, right? It'll be a little 5-10 minutes where I talk to the people who are in the audience, and then second half is going to be me talking about when it's good to give up, and also looking at different strategies people suggest of not giving up, and then just that'll be the end of the show. So before I get started, let me just say hello to everybody here. Hello, Sean Alexander. Sorry I made you jump. Was it because I said hello? Well, good. I've got green tiles on my kitchen. Yes, I love that you noticed the green tiles and not the fact that I have an alcoholic panda, because I would think that is more odd than the green tiles. Excellent. Glad you're here. Let's do it. Meet the Thank you for being here, Shazib Khan. Thank you for being Phil Scuba. Good to have you here again. Okay, let's get started. So I called 4 people, right? No, I called 3 people. And what was fun about the first person I called is I've never met this person, right? I've never met this person. They are in another country, and they happen to be a fan of this show. They tune in every now and then. They may be in the chat room now, or they'll catch up with it later. Hello, musical wife. I won't say their name, of course, because I don't want dodgy stalkers to go looking for them. But either way, I called this person who I've never met before, and I said, what is it that you gave up? And she said the thing which she gave up was her first husband. So I don't know if she has a second husband. I'm assuming a lot. Her husband, her ex-husband, right, forced her to quit music. So she was a musician, and he forced her to quit music. Now, that is the worst thing you can do as a husband. I gotta tell you, like, in trying to keep your wife happy, women will tolerate a lot if you make their dreams come true and support them in trying to make their dreams come true. Think of it this way, right? You could be very unattractive, very bad in bed, and have serious body odor. But if you help her make her dreams come true, she's going to stay with you forever, right? So she was with this guy who really pressured her and would not accept what she wanted to do with her life, and she quit. She quit, and she got a regular job. And you know, years later, I talked to her about this, about whether she had any regrets, and she doesn't have regrets, because what I find admirable is she's like, well, look, it was a bad time, and it was a very horrible time I went through back then, but it's made me who I am, right? So this is not a sad story. This is not a tragedy. We're not going to be weeping on her behalf, because she's done really well in life. I mean, she got a new career. She's done well in her career. And, you know, the unsupportive dude is gone. So good riddance to him, right? And she's doing well. And then there was also another happy ending, right? In that her daughter is now a singer, and she supported her daughter in her singwriting. And I think that's amazing. And it also got me thinking, you know, you can, if you fail in getting a dream, right, you can almost live it vicariously through your kids, can't you? Right? And I never actually wanted to have kids. I've got to admit, I've never been a fan, but now I'm starting to think that's the one reason I should maybe have a kid. So let's say this comedy goes tits up, right? Let's say this comedy fails, either because of Corona or just people stop laughing at my jokes. What am I going to do? I'm going to be crushed. My dreams have died. But no, I could have a kid and pressure that kid to become a comedic genius. In fact, I could even name the kid. I named the kid, okay, Rivers Rock Chappelle, right? Just as a hint, right? You are Rivers Rock Chappelle Carlin Chaponda. Do whatever you want with your life, Rivers Rock Chappelle Carlin Chaponda. So that is the first person I spoke to. Someone who had been pressured, gave up on something which she loved doing, and but she has no regrets because she likes where her life ended up. Okay? second person I spoke to, I'm going to call the almost Latin lover. And this is a good friend of mine, a comedian, right? And the thing which he gave up it's less momentous, but it's very personal because he is Spanish, right? His heritage is Spanish, but he's British. He's grown up in the UK. He's from northern British person, and he always wanted to speak his home language, his mother tongue, right? And so he was trying to learn it, and he just failed. He just failed. And I empathize for this because I'm from Malawi and I don't speak a word of Chichewa. Okay, I speak maybe 3 words. Like I speak the amount of Chichewa which a tourist does, right? And he's like me. He doesn't speak his home language, and he was always like, I'm going to fix this. And he started trying to learn it. And he let himself down. And he actually told me very honestly, I said, why didn't you achieve this dream? And he just said, I'm just too lazy, and it's too easy not to study it, right? There are no reasons to do it. And this is when I realized that he is a true Brit, actually. You know, wherever his blood is from, he's a true Brit because he cannot commit to learning a second language. And in fact, in other countries, he will just use the tried and true British tradition of talking louder in the face of the person. Speak slower and louder, and hopefully they will understand your English, right? But it was quite a sad moment for him too, because he recounted to me that one thing was his dad had been very excited that he was going to learn the language and had been helping him learn the language, and there was a day when his dad just gave up, you know, because he was so bad at it, was making mistakes, and his dad like, that's it, it's over, no more lessons. Like, just ended it in. And I'm sure that all the kids being taught in COVID homeschools, there are going to be a few moments like this where the parent who's trying to be the teacher just has enough. Just like, 3, 4, 5. Pythagoras, 3, 4, 5. Not 3, 4, 7. Not 3, 4, 8. 3, 4, 5. Not 1, 2, 3. That's it. I've had enough. We're not going to teach you this anymore. Yes, draw a square, not a triangle then. Parents are going to snap. Yes, and why I say he's the almost Latin lover is part of the tragic thing about this friend of mine is that he had the chance to learn Spanish, which is one of the languages of love, you know, a Latin lover, and instead he's a northern bloke. British northern people, wonderful people. There are loads of things you can say about them. Very dependable, very funny, but you will never really hear that accent called sexy. So he had that chance and he let it go because he gave up. And that is my second example who I spoke to. And then the final person I spoke to was a very interesting person who I spoke to. I spoke again in another country, someone I've never met, a fan, and actually someone who we all are applauding at this very moment because she is a clinical laboratory scientist, right? And she also was talking about how before COVID, no one really knew what her job is. You know, there are people who are in labs, in hospitals, testing stuff, and people generally don't really think about them. She was even talking about some time where people delivered food to all the doctors, all the nurses, and they totally forgot to deliver food to the people in the laboratory because they just forget about them. They don't care about them, even though what they're doing is essential. But right now, everybody's thinking about them in the lab because they're the ones who may discover a vaccine for us, and I can start performing for live audiences. I'm a little too excited at that dream. But either way, I spoke to her, and she said she was actually very similar to the musical person who I spoke of, because when she was in university, she had a child, and it was in university, it was very difficult, and she was like, studying with a baby on her knee, and her husband was telling her to give up, telling her to quit. It's not worth it. You're too stressed. It's too difficult. Just give up. And she almost gave up, but she didn't, right? This woman's Wonder Woman. She didn't give up because she felt, in her words, she said, I persisted because she didn't want to settle for mediocrity. Right. She didn't want to settle for mediocrity. And I know she's a success because I could hear the money in her voice. Right? What do you mean you can hear money in people's voices. I was like, I'm talking to a successful woman right here. Because I could hear the money. It's maybe it's a sense from when I was a poor, young 20-year-old and I was hoping to find a sugar mama, but I could sense the money. So she's very successful. She didn't give up, even though it almost broke her at the time. And so those were the people I spoke to. And the one time she made me laugh is I asked her if she could talk to her younger self. Was there one bit of advice she would give them? And she just said, put down the fork, because she feels that she gained too much weight. But you are successful in true African fashion. Celebrate with food. If you are skinny and successful, people shake their head at you. They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? If I had your money, I'd eat. Okay. So those are my interviews, and they composed the first half of the show. So let's take a look at the comments, any of the questions, and we will make it the second half. Now, if I put this here, is it out of people's view? Yes, it is. Okay, here we go. Good. Abe says he used to date a lady on the large side. He broke up with her. Would that count as giving up something big? No, it wouldn't. That would count as being a dick if that was the only reason you broke up with her. If she was someone who made you happy, made you laugh, completed you, but she was a little bit big and you broke up with her, that is... But I admit, I'm a man. I've done that sort of thing when I was young. But nowadays, I wouldn't do that, because you realize that the really hard to find stuff is just, go to the gym together. Excellent. How are we doing? Quick question. Which movie do I love the most? Says Willows, Minecraft, and more. My favorite movie is called Life is Beautiful. And Life is Beautiful is a very funny movie. And it does everything I want to do with comedy, because it creates comedy out of painful situations. You can't even believe how funny it is because of where it is set. Life is Beautiful. Check it out. Willow's Minecraft. Okay, who else do we have here? I will check my inbox. Afrula KCK. Okay, excellent. Good here. Hello, GG FWF. Good to have you here. Deliso, another Deliso. Good. You also have a hard time speaking Chichewa. Are you in Malawi? Why do you have a hard time speaking Chichewa? Because it's us diaspora babies who grew up everywhere but Malawi who have trouble speaking Chichewa, because we've never practiced it. Excellent. What drink does the panda have? The panda is drinking vodka. I mean, I put him in... I'll admit to you, okay? The panda had made some progress. He was in Alcoholics Anonymous, but COVID's got the best of him. He's broken. He's on a binge. This is now his second day of the 2-day binge. I've tried to stop this panda. He's ruining his life, but he's just drinking. And I've tried to get him, and he's like, get away from me! So that's what's going on with the panda. Phil Scuba, excellent. I'm putting you to sleep. Okay. Javid Majid, go to sleep. This show can also work as hypnosis and sleep therapy. So, put into your mind the sound of oceans, Javid Majid. Okay? Put into your mind the sound of the ocean and fall asleep. Okay, excellent. Let us keep going, doing the next section, which is me talking about giving up. There are some times when you should give up, right? Everyone's always telling you, never give up, don't give up, don't give up, you should never give up. You always hear that, but there's some times where maybe you should give up. Like, for example, if you are a man who has asked a woman out and she has said no, you try again. She says no again. You try again. She says no again. There's a point where, dude, you got to give up or you're getting too a little bit stalkerish, right? And men almost need to hear this because we are brainwashed by Hollywood movies. Almost every movie you watch, for 80% of the movie, she doesn't want the guy, she doesn't want the hero, she doesn't want the hero, she doesn't want the hero. Then suddenly she falls for him. He runs after her in an airport and they fall in love. And this is false advertising, right? If somebody says no once, no twice, no thrice, that is now the point when you got to start looking for somebody else, right? Not giving up on a woman that is stalkerish, people. So that's one case where I think maybe giving up is healthy, right? And also in the same thing, if you're in a bad relationship, men or women, if you're in a bad relationship, this person's treating you terribly, they've been treating you terribly for years, there's so many people who stay with it because they're thinking, oh, it'll get back to the good days. Oh, the good days are coming. Sometimes the good days aren't coming, right? I don't know. I feel like human beings, we have the capacity to imagine, right? Imagine a better day. And it's great. It gets us through hard times. Like right now, no matter how bad your life is during lockdown, it's possible to imagine a better way optimistically. But there are other cases where you're being optimistic when all the evidence is pointing at give up, dude. So that's one case. And then the other reason why maybe you should give up is if pursuing your dream is not making you happy, right? If, yes, you want to be a singer or you want to be a dancer, but every day trying to become it is soul crushing, don't do it. Like, I'll tell you the truth. Becoming a comedian, as much as it was difficult, I loved every day trying to get there, right? So, yes, those are times you should give up. And I found some examples of people who maybe should have taken the hint. There was a guy called Troy Hertubis. If you don't know about this guy, he had a dream of fighting a bear. Yeah, he wanted to fight a grizzly bear. So he started making armor. So essentially, earlier in his life, he was attacked by a bear and he wanted revenge. So he started making like an Iron Man armor. This is not fiction. This dude spent all his money, all his savings. His wife left him. His kids thought he was crazy. But he was like, I'm going to go for a rematch. And he started making a suit to fight the bear. And then he goes to fight the bear. And it's a very tragic situation, right? Because he never ever succeeded. He lost all his money, lost his family. And I also think this is a test if you should give up on your dream. If when you tell people what your dream is, they all look at you and say, what? What? Yes, not one what. 2 whats? 2 whats is danger zone. And trust me, if you tell any of your friends, I'm building an armor so I can fight a bear, you're going to get what? What? So that's one. And then the other person who never gave up, there's a guy called Hiro Onada. It's an amazing story, right? This guy was a Japanese soldier in the World War. And he was, I just got a donation from Muriel. Thank you very much. I think a coin. Did a coin just go into the jar? Thank you very much, Muriel. I just got the new notification. Thank you for the tip, as I didn't even tell people that if you want to tip, there is a tip jar if you go to that sign. But lovely, Muriel, thank you very much. Very appreciated. But as I was saying, Hiro Onada, Second World War ended 1945. This dude was undercover, hiding in the bushes in the Philippines. He got a pamphlet. He saw a pamphlet which said the war is over. He thought it was propaganda. So he didn't believe it, and he stayed in hiding, waging a one-man war for another 29 years. Nothing would persuade this person that the war was over. People were dropping packages with planes, like pictures of his family, saying, hey, come back, the war is over. And he was like, this is a trick. This is a trick. This man never gave up. Sometimes you gotta give up. Sometimes you're just being delusional, right? And you've got to be able to check yourself and figure it out. But at the same time, right? I don't think that's me, right? I think I'm meant to be a comedian, even though it is very difficult to do it right now, right? So I decided to end the show by looking at the top tips from around the world of how not to give up, right? And this is advice for all of you, because I think a lot of you are probably going through similar moments where you struggle and you think about giving up, right? And so these are tips from religious leaders, from philosophers, from all sorts, but I've bottled them down. Okay. First one is adopt an I won't quit mindset. Now, look, I don't think this one works for me, right? Because I can't trick my brain. It's the same way people say, oh, you're worried, take it easy, don't worry. You can't con your brain. You know, when you're on the plane and the turbulence is going and people are like, oh, calm down. Just tell yourself it's okay. You can't tell your brain. Your brain's saying, we're going to crash. There's going to be a comet of explosion all over the seafloor. You can't con your brain, right? So just adopt an I won't quit attitude, and telling yourself, I won't quit, I won't quit, I won't quit, doesn't work for me. So I'm going to discard that one, even though it was the number one tip on around 3 different websites, right? Also, so often I think we meet people who are trying to be positive but clearly aren't surviving, aren't actually convincing themselves, that they'll be like, yeah, I believe in myself. I'll get that promotion. And they are telling you it, but it sounds like a question. So that one does not work for me. Number 2, which I found, okay? Watch somebody else persevere. This is one of the other ways. They say read inspirational things. So read like a biography of someone who struggled and made it. You know, read about, the pursuit of happiness, or somebody who was poor and somehow managed to get themselves out of the trenches. That will inspire you. Again, I gotta tell you, this one does not work for me. I don't know if it's because I'm too much of an envious person. When I read about people who started struggling in a worse situation than mine, and then they made it, I don't get inspired by it. I get irritated. I'm like, wait, how did you succeed with nothing? Like, I've not got nothing and I can't get that good. It just makes me want to fling the book across the wall. So that one did not work for me either. 2 of them did work for me. So before I talk about the ones which I did work for me, I'll take a final look at the chat room. Excellent. Willow's Minecraft asked me what makes me laugh the most. Now, this is one which I can't really share with everyone, but the one things which make me laugh the most are my close friends. I think that's why, we just call each other and we giggle for an hour. In fact, that friend of mine who was the almost Latin lover, he's one of the people who I just call and we laugh about stuff. So that's what makes me laugh most. And I actually think for most people, your friends beat any comedian, right? Because they are what really gets to your laughter. Phil Scuba says, you do not give up fight. You keep going no matter what, as long as I am right. You do. Is that a quote? What is that? I don't give up. I fight and keep going no matter what, as long as I am right. Is that... What is that? Is that Peter Gabriel or something like that? I don't know. Or it's probably something profound, and I've made it, don't give up. But either way, it's true. Lovely thing. And I'm glad you laughed at the panda comments about the drunk panda. Excellent. And what's the weirdest encounter I've had at a show, Elise Gutierrez? Yes, the weirdest encounter I've had at a show was after a show. It was actually a lovely encounter. I did a joke about a penguin. And after a show, a guy who makes balloon animals made me a balloon penguin and gave me the balloon penguin because he liked my joke about penguins. It was lovely, but that was a very odd moment. Excellent. So it's a good way to live your life. Thank you, everybody else. So before I go, thank you so much. I'm going to keep doing this, even though I had that moment where I thought about giving up. I was like, I've written all these jokes. It's not making me any money. I'm writing my novel. I won't sell it. But these are the two tips which helped me the most get round to keep going. The first one was this. Number 3 possible thing is call somebody, right? If you're having doubts, call somebody and you can almost tell them, look, I'm having struggling. Can you be my goal sponsor? It's almost like your own version of, alcoholics who are struggling to not give up, not start drinking again. They will have a sponsor who they talk to, who they say, I'm struggling today. Or they have a sponsor who they say, oh, it's been 2 weeks that I've been doing this. It works so well for alcoholics. You can use it for anyone. You can use it for anything. Like I'm trying to write a novel. I can call someone and say, I'm struggling to write today, right? I can call someone and talk to them when I'm saying, I've written 1,000 words every day for the last 10 days and celebrate it with them. Doing it not alone helps a lot. I recommend that a lot. If you've not got anyone who you can call the Samaritans. Call someone. There's so many things who you can call to help you not give up. And then the final one, which helped me the most, is go back to why. So don't think about the goal, right? It's easy to get blocked if you're thinking of the goal. If the goal is, I want to be a comedian who's touring in arenas, that is very depressing because you're not doing it and you can start worrying about it. But then you have to think, why do I do it? Why do I do it? And I came back to the moment. The reason why I write jokes, the reason why I write stories, the reason why I create is because I love creation. I love words. I love laughter. I love making people laugh. I love how it makes me laugh. So I'm going to keep doing it. I know today wasn't the funniest episode because I wasn't doing jokes. It was more of a deep dive. But tomorrow I'll be back with loads of zany jokes based on subjects which people suggest. So come back for that show and whatever your own personal struggles in Corona, don't give up. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been